If your meanie boss passed you over for promotion, then you both survived a plane crash only to end up on a deserted island, would you bash his brains in, or actually try to work together on getting rescued? In this How to Beat video, I'm gonna break down the mistakes Linda Liddle and her boss made, what you should do, and how to beat the toxic workplace in Send Help. We start out following Linda Liddle. She's one of those important little dorky cogs in the machine that nobody gives a f about and everybody passes over for promotion. Her bosses are good-looking males that take advantage of her meek competence for their own career advancement any chance they can take. Linda here suffers heavily from the smart but unattractive syndrome.
Oh.
You one ugly motherfucker.
She's a bit socially awkward too, but that weirdo awkwardness suddenly can easily flip to cutesy and charming with a healthy dose of looks-maxing. Like that weird pasty loner dude who everyone would have avoided like the plague, suddenly becoming fawned over for being mysterious and complicated when he looks like Edward Cullen. Linda's basically the opposite version of Chad who just says hi and gets what he wants. She's very intelligent, great at her job, but she's stuffing tuna sandwiches in her drawers, smells, has food paste all over her face, looks like she hasn't showered properly in days, slept in weeks, hasn't gone for a walk outside in months, and hasn't been to the gym in years. Oh, and she somehow transferred part of her tuna sandwich face paste onto her boss's hand. It's honestly hard to watch. Apparently, Linda's been waiting for a promotion to VP that her former boss promised her. A promise that her new boss, the son of her former boss, fully intends to not keep. Upon appointment as CEO, he gives the VP position to his frat bro and recent hire, Donovan. Not only that, but he plans to put her dead-end career in the basement office like she's Milton Wadhams. And that's if they can't complete the knowledge transfer and promptly fire her. Linda's furious, so she interrupts Bradley's important new hire meeting with a young attractive Stacy to discuss why she, a number savant who's been here for 7 years, has been passed over by Donovan, a dude who's been here all of 6 months. Bradley informs her that while she's a valuable member of the team and excellent with analyzing numbers and developing reports, the vice president role also requires a person with excellent people skills. But Linda's a people person.
I have people skills.
The ability to manage, lead, communicate, charm, motivate, make deals, and present the best image of their company to clients. He tells her she's not quite there yet, and also lets her know that she has lipstick all over her teeth. Creative nerds. Just last night, I was watching a Johnny Harris YouTube video on the JFK assassination, and what really jumped out at me was how crunchy his effects were, the tasteful splicing of his cuts, and the impactful mix of imagery and sound design to mirror the drama of his subject matter. He's clearly using an all-in-one creative toolkit, like this video's sponsor, Storyblocks. Storyblocks is high-quality, human-made stock library of footage, music, sound effects, templates, and workflow-enhancing tools is built for creators producing polished, professional-level pieces. Storyblocks isn't some text-to-video AI generation platform. Their library is 100% human-made by real filmmakers and artists. Their library seamlessly connects with Premiere Pro and After Effects via the Storyblocks plugin, meaning you can access everything right from within the software you're already using. Just now, you have a massive range of overlays, graphics, animations, and effects to elevate your vlog into a serious production that uses a layered editing approach to maximize the impact of the story you're telling. Some of you nerds out there may have caught the gaming channel that I've made a few videos for. No, not Nerd Explays, a different one. If you have, you already understand the value of Storyblocks' library and the layered editing approach for creating a rich drama. The entire Storyblocks library is royalty-free, pre-licensed, and safe to use in monetized projects, because having your 30-minute video get claimed over a sound effect or song really sucks. If you want to take your vlog level videos to a serious production level masterpiece, go to storyblocks.com/nerdexplains. They're offering 15% off any annual plan for a limited time, and that discount is only available through my link. Alright, I know they're trying to make Bradley look like a huge D-bag here, and yeah, he kinda is, but come on, Linda. He is right in that you don't have what it takes to be upper management. Nobody's gonna listen to or follow a slob that communicates with people about as well as she communicates with her pet bird. You may disagree with who he hires, but you can't disagree with why it's not you. It's not just on Bradley either. Most of her team avoids her, or outright actively dislikes her. There's been complaints about her rank tuna sandwiches stanking up the office too. Again, the movie plays this off as Bradley conjuring up false complaints because he was annoyed of her, when it's quite obvious that she's not well liked. These complaints must actually be occurring. These are all further reasons for not promoting her, because why would you promote a person to a managerial role who everyone under her generally dislikes? And not because she'd be hard on them in a respected, effective way, but because she generally comes off as self-centered in her own way. Everything that she's done, all her behaviors and reasons are about her wants, her needs. Her getting her promotion so she can get a better apartment and go on more vacations. Her attempting to self-invite herself to other people's meetups, trying to satisfy her own social goals. Her stinking up the place so she can get ahead on her own work. Constantly self-pitying her own appearance that she gives no shit to improving at all. It's an office, not your living room couch, hun. Never has she asked or used her super brainiac analyst smarts to deduce what her coworkers need from her, what her boss needs from her besides reports, what the company needs from her, what the VP role needs from her. Alright, I'm being hard on Linda. She is excellent at keeping the machine running, putting together strategic analysis, and she is getting unfairly used. It's just, she's not staying in her lane. And she's not realizing that, like it or not, if she wants to change lanes, she's gonna have to change herself. Even if she's competent, all her new subordinates aren't gonna be motivated, well-led. She most likely will have trouble delegating work. Linda's the type that gets stuck in her own little world with her earbuds in, unable to step outside her cubicle and work well with others. She's a great analyst, but she's very solitary. Being a good soldier absolutely does not mean you will be a good general. Oh, but you were promised the VP position by the former boss. Did it ever occur to you that your former boss had the power to promote you at any point and didn't? And maybe he didn't for similar reasons. The only difference is that your former boss strung you along while Bradley told you straight up why. The point here is Linda isn't quite her. Bradley tells her that she should come to the Bangkok project meeting with him and Donovan. If she can seal the deal with the clients, it would go a long way. Linda leaves the meeting and escapes the office while holding back tears. At this point, he's obviously lying that it'd help advance her career in any way, given the feedback he'd just given her. Donovan was already promoted, and I highly doubt anything can change that at this point. Given Linda's worked here for so long, I think that what she needs to aim for here isn't the VP position. She has leverage in that Appendix D, whatever that super important thing is, cannot be resolved without her. So she's not fit for management. Fine, who cares? She would hate that role anyways. What she should bargain for is a nicer office, a new pseudo-higher title, more PTO, work from home a day or two out of the week, and a big pay bump. It doesn't matter if her new office is on the other side of the building from him. Boom, everyone's happy. Instead, Linda's taking what's actually pretty honest feedback, and instead of improving herself, she's getting emotional, upset, and making herself a victim, turning her boss's feedback into an attack on her as a person. She should not have aggressively complained to her boss. That likely annoyed him even more. What's done is done. Linda has the brains, but what she needs to do now is go home, take a shower, get some nice clothes, go to a spa for a facial, get her hair done, look the part. Then tomorrow, come in looking like $1,000,000, put together, stand up tall, walk back over to her boss and tell him you understand his position and his reasons for why she didn't get the promotion are reasonable. She's taken in the complaints about her from her coworkers and will improve this. However, she is an extremely valuable member of the team and does deserve a raise, a title increase, a nicer office that's maybe a bit more isolated so she can do her job more effectively without constant disturbances from coworkers. This should be fair, given it sounds like she's a one-woman analyst who works primarily solo. Given the Bangkok project coming up, she would need all the focus that she can dedicate to get prepared. She would love to join the trip and will do her best to present the best version of herself and the company to the clientele wherever she's needed. Bradley still has his number savant that the corporation relies on heavily. Linda's annoyingness and tuna sandwiches are far away from him and her coworkers. Linda gets a decent pay bump that she likely deserves, which still carries a high ROI for the company. The pseudo-title bump makes her feel good about having something cooler sounding, and a nicer office that's walled off from everyone so they aren't affected by her awkwardness and stank, and that reduces their disturbances on her work. More PTO and work from home time means she can have more time with her pet bird and doing what she likes, while also being out of his sight more, which Bradley has visibly expressed to be annoying. She can afford a better apartment, more vacations, better wine. Everyone gets what they want. Now, this is if she wanted to keep the job and find a way to find success at the company. It's a hard road for someone like Linda, and with how much a dicks everyone's being to her at this point, and how irreversible her position right now looks, I totally understand blowing the whole thing up and simply quitting right then and there. That's enough of a you, because without her, the Bangkok project likely fails, and the company takes a big hit. She could take solace in that and go find a company where her values are more aligned. Maybe even try to start her own consulting analysis business, given her skills and resume. Having changed nothing, she spends all night on Appendix D, shows up to the jet headed for Bangkok, and proceeds to get actively ignored by everyone who looks at her in sheer disgust. On the plane, Donovan shows the boys Linda Liddle's Survivor Woman audition tape. They all have a good rich laugh at her expense. Yeah, Linda rightfully goes with option B, Nuke Project Bangkok.
I'll give you a little hint.
Okay, alright, we're all good.
You little
The situation escalates quickly when the cabin hole cracks open and the rapid depressurization starts sucking the bros out. Donovan grabs Linda, screaming to give him her seat. Then Chase grabs onto Donovan. Donovan starts kicking Chase's teeth out while Chase bites his leg. It's a free-for-all at this point. When Donovan starts to choke Linda out, Linda grabs a fork and jabs it into his hand. Hilariously, Donovan's still out there banging into Linda's window, stuck on the outside of the plane, held on by his tie caught on the edge, choking on his aspirations. She closes the window shade, and that's when she looks out the cabin and sees water, which is freaky, but hey, at least that means the pilot did his job. It could be worse. The ocean could be parallel to the plane in a vertical dive at 5,000 feet. Linda struggles to get herself free from the seatbelt and escapes the sinking wreck. Her only salvation? A rogue buoyant seat that came loose or something. How lucky! She wakes up on the beach the next morning. It's a real castaway situation. The good news is that her audition for Survivor Woman has been accepted. Looks like Bradley made it too, and just in time for his head to be caved in by his off underling. His wig split and his legs are busted. Thankfully, Linda's quite resourceful, gathering supplies to craft a makeshift shelter for Bradley. But why didn't she just drag him under the forest trees? She went into the forest to clip branches and leaves just to make a version of a tree on the beach? Okay, smart. Now, the rain catchers, that's a better idea. I just would have hoped that she'd split more than 2 coconuts so they'd have more than 2 cups of water to drink for the next few days until it rains again. Especially since Brad seems to be losing a lot of fluid. Has she even bothered to tend to that wound on his leg? Nope. But she did create fire by rubbing some sticks together. And she caught a fish, which she fried up for baby Brad. The bad news here is that Linda's bird will assuredly die without her. I think that realization's hitting her now while she's on the beach at night. She did wrap her blouse around his leg cut. When Bradley wakes up, he starts getting frustrated with Linda for being busy crafting and playing Survivor Woman, Susie Homemaker as he says, instead of searching for washed up GPS equipment or making distress signals. He does go overboard with the scumbag boss routine.
That should be your
Yeah,
focus,
but
okay? Not being Susie Homemaker over here. You work for me.
Probably because he thinks that they'll be found soon and he can go back to playing golf while his underlings toil away at their computers. Linda gets pissed, bags her conch, and leaves him for another spot on the island. The night passes and a plane flies overhead, but with his leg grievously wounded, he's unable to make a fiery distress signal. On the precipice of perishing from dehydration, Linda arrives, his savior, with an organic Stanley cup full of water. She plans to try to kill a wild boar that she heard rustling around, since those little fish that she's been catching don't have enough macros to sustain the both of them for weeks and weeks that they may be here. Easy enough. Cool, I think it's dead now. Nothing left to do but chop it up, cook it up, and consume as much as possible before it goes bad. Cool, I think it's dead now. Not gonna lie, I would probably stick to fishing after that. She shares her feast with Bradley, and they share a good awkward laugh about how she's literally bringing home the bacon. The next morning, Linda finds a tranquil waterfall to clean up in. That's when a fishing boat, not 100 yards away, hums by. Initially, she goes to shout for help, then stops herself, saying, "Not quite yet." Alright, Linda here fully intends to exact a long and painful revenge on Bradley, doing everything that she can to make him see her as a valuable member. Using the mermaid effect to get him to fall in love with her, since she's the only fish in the sea. Over time, his desperation and reliance on her will force him to take a liking to her out of self-preservation, at which point she can get him to give her a promotion. And all the while, she's having a grand old time role-playing Castaway on her tropical island adventure. Only Bradley seems to be regaining his movement, and once he finds a way off this rock or figures out that the island is actually trafficked to where she's been, he's liable to bash her brains in with a rock while she's sleeping. He has to be getting suspicious too. It's been 2 weeks, and Linda here is nothing but smiles and cheer.
Is it that bad? We have food, water, company?
Yeah. Bradley's like, nah, and heads out to make his own camp. Honestly, as much as the movie wants to portray Linda Liddle as the heroic, revenge-taking underdog, I kinda get why Bradley's pissed. She hasn't done shit to signal boats or aircraft that have literally been passing by. Yes, he's been an asshole about everything, and she did kinda save him with the water, but given fishing boats coming through and planes flying overhead, getting seen is priority 1, or at least 2, and she hasn't done shit but try to build her little coconut base. Bradley hasn't done anything. Yeah, because he's wounded. Linda can come right back here once they've been found. Her intentionally keeping them both hidden from rescue is a complete bitch move. One that will absolutely bite them in the ass. Surviving on an island for a couple weeks, sure, whatever. It feels like a vacation if you're not thinking past the next few days. You almost got killed by a wild boar. What happens if you snap your femur on the next one? Or one of them gets a bacterial infection that they can't treat. Something poisonous bites them. Suddenly, when you actually need to signal a boat or a plane, there won't be one, or you won't be in a position or able to do it. And now you both die. Bradley's camp isn't going so well. Not much food, not much water. Linda's camp, on the other hand, is dialed in. stocked full of fruit and stocked full of goods. So he comes over to apologize. Yeah, a lot of it's driven by not wanting to starve to death, but he does give a pretty honest and thorough apology, which Linda is absolutely relishing. Sitting there eating and drinking in front of his cracked, parched face.
How above and beyond are you willing to go for me?
See, this is where Linda goes wrong, because to me, she just solidified an enemy. Maybe not now, maybe later, but he will remember this moment. He apologized profusely for being an asshole at work. That wasn't a life or death situation. That was office politics and him being a prick. Not saying it should be ignored, but the man apologized. Continuing to hold a grudge against him and keeping him from being rescued over your lack of promotion so you can savor his misery and desperation in a life or death situation's kind of fuck. You're kicking a literally wounded man while he's down and starving. That is way more of a sociopathic bag move than your boss being a bit of a dick at work. Comically, he thinks that she means for him to strip and get busy, because that's what he would have expected from his female hires.
How above and beyond would you be willing to go for me?
Linda caves and lets him eat the food that she prepared. Then she takes Bradley on a little hike up to the summit of a cliff. She remarks that there's nothing as far as the eye can see in an attempt to solidify his feeling of futile hopelessness. Yeah, until a boat or a plane goes by. No one here is expecting to see a town a mile away. She gives him a foraging tip. Never eat yellow, white, or green berries. Then shows him that you can wipe it on your arm to see if there's a reaction, if it's poisonous. Then she says, do you see the rock below that looks like the letter X? That area is full of thorny bushes and poisonous plants. Don't go down there. Your skin will itch for a week, so just never go there. Right.
Big truck down.
Now seems like a great time to talk about needless risk-taking in high-stakes survival situations. You never take shortcuts if it means more danger. You always take the safe option, even if it's longer, harder, more difficult, whatever. Because if you even have a minor mishap, it can be fatal. Bradley grabs her arm and pulls her back up to safety. She collapses on top of him, and they have a moment, a turning point in their relationship. Man, with Linda's psycho plan really shaping up, it'd be a shame if a terrible storm rolled through and wrecked everything and nearly killed you with falling trees. Gee, maybe it's time to start thinking about leaving the island. Again, you can just come back here later with supplies, a GPS, a phone, and live out your tropical vacation life without being at the mercy of dying from one bad mistake. But then I guess you wouldn't be able to oogle your former boss and use his desperation to manufacture some kind of love for yourself. What the f? There's a cave? Why didn't you build your base here? The next morning, Linda informs Brad that the whole camp got washed away because no sh**, you built it on a sandy beach, which is why they're building their next base on open land that is like 4 or 5 feet higher. Things are going well. They both are cooperating and building their new home. Bradley even takes her out to dinner later that night. It was all a ruse. He poisoned her with berries so he could take off in the raft that he's secretly been building at night, stocked with supplies that he stole from her the night the storm hit. Jesus Christ, this is so dumb. There is clearly nothing out there. You were significantly better off simply using the stability of the new camp to justify searching the island perimeter for washed up remnants, supplies, to get a firm scope on potential boating lanes in the distance, air traffic. Even with the thorny, poisonous bushes, you could circumnavigate the island by paddling a raft around the shoreline, lighting signal fires at night with damp brush to create massive billows of smoke. With stability, Linda would have a hard time justifying why they shouldn't without arousing suspicion. The raft is going to get obliterated by the first rogue wave, and there is zero reason to poison Linda and torch the entire situation just to leave. You can literally just leave. If it fails, you can come back and you haven't burned the bridge to the ground. This is just mindlessly stupid. You, Linda! Yep, now he's getting puked on by Linda while she's trying to resuscitate him. It's disgusting. The next morning, she feeds him a blue octopus that paralyzes his body temporarily, just so she can go full law-abiding citizen on him. She starts telling him a story about how they had to fix her unruly dog, all while sharpening and sterilizing the knife. Then she leans in and acts like she's snipping his nuts.
It's actually quite a simple medical procedure. No, don't be a baby. You're not gonna miss this time.
Oops, it's just a rat. But next time, it won't be. Right. I mean, yeah, she's got all the reasons to be pissed about being temporarily poisoned by a couple of bad berries and betrayed by a moron. But you don't get to sit on some moral high ground after paralyzing a guy and pretending to neuter him so he can be your submissive dog. For Christ's sake, she literally frames him as now a peon from a lower caste, powerless, stuck under an annoying boss, which is now her, and then talks about how she could snip him like the neutered Egyptian slaves, so he'd become obedient to those in power, which is now her. All in the same breath as claiming that she would be a better boss than he ever was. Linda's on a full-blown psycho power trip. And notice how she refers to him as an annoying boss. Not toxic, not abusive, not some irredeemable psycho, just annoying. So this boss you found annoying. You're now acting out and threatening to mutilate him and turn him into an obedient slave on an island that you're keeping him trapped on, and somehow think you're the good person here. Bradley may have been a bad boss and a prick, but Linda here is a certified sick f***. In the movie, Bradley just lets this mortal threat go. Absolutely zero red-blooded males would let her continue to breathe. The moment that paralyzing agent wore off, she would be dead. I don't care if I might starve without her super awesome survivor skills that she obtained by watching TV and sipping wine. After that threat, I would gladly starve to death watching her corpse float around in the waves. Like I've been saying, all this infantilizing and this newfound power that she's clearly enjoying is way sicker in a life or death survival situation that she is actively prolonging, keeping him against his will by discouraging him from going to the other side of the island where the fishing boats are, which she knows about and has intentionally avoided signaling. And by infantilizing, I mean she constantly treats him like a helpless baby, literally calling him baby. Aw, it's okay. I'll fix you up a little snack for your grumbling little belly. That type of shit. It's enough to make you want to crack her head open with a rock. She is a chronically spiteful little disgruntled bitch after being passed up for promotion. As stupid and arrogant as Bradley is, Linda is soul grating.
Would it kill you to give me a little smile? There it is.
Speaking of the knife, Linda claims that it washed ashore, which is total BS because metal knives are not buoyant. Their plane that crashed was private, so it's not like a passenger jet with God knows what exploded all over the ocean. The knife had to come from somewhere, something else, and it stands to reason that if a knife was found, there may be other supplies washing up that they should check out, possibly from a more trafficked boating lane. Naturally, this would lead to Bradley discovering the little secret that Linda's been keeping. Bradley's not that smart though. He thinks nothing of the knife. Look who's not smiling now. Bradley's fiancée, Zuri, pulls up to the island on a boat looking for him. Zuri asks if her fiancé Bradley is alive and okay. Linda says yes and yes. Then Zuri asks if she can take them to him, which Linda, in her weird way, reluctantly agrees to. Then Linda asks if they're alone or if there's a full rescue team coming. And the dumbass boat driver says it's just the two of them. Rule 1. Never tell a stranger in the middle of nowhere that you are alone. Of course, Zuri should have had a way to immediately notify rescue if she found them, because who knows what condition he's in. The priority is getting him off this rock ASAP. Also worth mentioning, Zuri has done nothing to Linda. Her only crime is being a beautiful woman engaged to Bradley. In fact, she's literally the only one who kept looking for them after the search in this area got called off a while ago. Zuri's the real heroine here. A real one. No chance I'm following this lady who's been cast away for months on a deserted island. especially not near a cliff edge. You get her to tell you exactly where Bradley is while you're still next to the boat. Then you call it in. Bring a full rescue team, Coast Guard, whatever. Linda would say, "Oh, our shelter is on the shore on the other side of the island." At which point they'd go, "Oh, let's hop in the boat and drive around to him." Not hike a treacherous cliff edge through the thick jungle. Instead, Linda tells them to keep walking the cliff while she ties her shoelace, fully intending for them to walk across the broken cliff edge that she had patched together. But why? Was she really out here setting traps in case someone showed up so that she could kill them? Potentially innocent people just trying to help. The boatman grabs her, pleading for Linda to help as she just watches. Then she grabs a rock and bashes his head in, sending them both careening down onto the rocks below. All so she could keep her little baby Bradley under her and only her supervision. That night, she starts having PTSD nightmares of Zuri. While out boar hunting the next day, Bradley finds Zuri's hand sticking out of the sand, having washed up overnight. I think Bradley knows Linda was at fault, especially with how off she's been, all glum and moody. Suddenly needing to take a sick day, Bradley confronts her about murdering Zuri. Linda clearly lies, saying she slipped off the cliff. You took her on the cliff pass that you know is extremely dangerous. They arrived by boat. You could have taken them around the island to the beach camp instead of marching them along a treacherous cliff face. You obviously intended for them to not make it. Bradley confronting Linda about it on the beach, though, was not the move. What he should have done was catch one of those blue octopus things, extract the paralyzing toxin, lace her food or drink, tie her up, then confront her, at which point killing her would be easy. At least he stole her knife first, I guess. Now he's chasing her through the woods. It turns into a fight way more brutal than it ever needed to be. Bradley jams a finger into her eye, nearly popping it out, rips part of her scalp off. Linda gets a knife into his abdomen, bites his finger, and swallows Zuri's engagement ring. This is exactly why you don't announce and telegraph your intent to kill someone. They fight back, and that sucks because the best place to stab somebody is in the back. During the chase and fight and chase, Bradley stumbles onto a mansion built into the cliffside, a full-on mansion that Linda has been keeping all to herself, pulling supplies from. Food, water, a bed, a shower, and most importantly, a clear means for rescue. Bradley finds her, except now she's got a shotgun pointed at him. Yeah, you're kind of f***ed, man. He starts feeding her a fake sob story about how he's changed, he loves her, and wants to stay there forever. All the stuff she wants to hear. Just long enough to swipe the gun away and slice her shoulder a little with an ornamental mask horn. Bro, that's the thing that you drive into her neck. He grabs the shotgun, realizes it's empty.
I'm a f***ing idiot.
And then Linda somehow kills him with a golf club, because Bradley, apparently, cannot think to use the big metal and wood stick in his hands to block or just beat her to death with. Linda whacks him, clubbing her way into fame and success, being found as the only survivor on the island. Actually, sorry, the beloved survivor woman. According to the interviewer asking her questions after she won the Poly Prairie at the 19th Annual Celebrity Golf Tournament. Because she's a celebrity now. Oh, and she's a best-selling author. And of course her book is being turned into a box office hit movie. And she's working on another self-help motivation book. Linda Liddle, dressed in all-white golfing attire, looking rich, pulls out of there, drives off, singing her Getcha 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 song in her classic convertible sports coupe with her bird still alive riding shotgun. She's made millions. She's nothing but smiles and sunshine. Definitely no remorse. She's just the coolest. I'm just surprised that she didn't take over his company as CEO like Frida did. Linda even tries to take my moral of the story.
No help is coming, so you better start saving yourself.
Thanks for the life wisdom, you utterly terrible human being. Ultimately, Linda Liddle got her riches, swept her ill deeds under the rug, and successfully escaped the rat race. But had Bradley killed Linda sooner, or had Zuri promptly called for rescue when she found them, Linda would either be buried in soil or more paperwork. For that reason, I'd say this movie could have been beat. Moral of the story: be wary of those in power. Be very wary of those seeking power.